Like the
It's
it,
so stupid. Let me tell you how stupid this is. Hold on, wait.
I
I
just don't know
I
money. I
I
don't know
just
money
pulled up
wise how it works.
my Twitter, and someone shared a link to Nets Daily, and then the link went nowhere, so I just went to Nets Daily, and they actually put up a banner, and this is what they put up a banner. This nursery for burgeoning sports writer. This is what they just put up on the banner, which is hilarious. Woj, no talks yet between Nets and Rockets, but James Harden interested.
Yeah,
Of course he's interested. Where else would he go? Where else would he want to go? The
no, I mean
Clippers
I'm
are.
I just don't I don't really.
This is crazy. Sam,
It's it, it,
they
it
put
it's
up a
also just it's
banner.
also just
They put
addressing
up a
a
banner in a
need.
whole. It's like it's. First of all, it starts with thirsty. It's not clickbait. It's clout bait, right? A writer will post something, and you could tell he's getting it from an agent. You could tell basically Nelson Fertitta. I'm Nelson Fertitta. Why I keep calling him Nelson? Tillman Fertitta has let them know. Listen, my pockets is not like this. I don't know about this luxury tax that I gotta pay. I gotta pay the repeater. I've paid Chris Paul. I've paid Russell Westbrook. I've played several players making 40 million plus. Uh, we can't even get close to winning a championship. We gotta liquidate this thing. There's no running it back. You need to run these dudes out of this team. And so Harden, a good writer, right? A good sports writer, an NBA writer who knows how to do his thing should go, okay, this is what's happening. Harden doesn't just want out. Harden sees they're about to blow up this team.
Yep,
They're not paying anybody else.
yep.
I don't want to be here. And before they trade me to the Timberwolves, let me see if my man Kevin Durant can pull me over there. And
Yeah, the only thing that Harden has going for him is he has 2 years left, which is probably enough to maybe not even scare away a team, but he can say like, "Look, there's no way I'm signing back with X, Y, or Z." But it's probably it,
nobody's nobody's thinking of the future. They just want to get James Harden to come, score 50 a night, draw 15 fouls, get them to 8th, 7th, or 6th seed of the playoffs, and then lose in the first or second round. That's what they're getting him for. There are teams that haven't been. The Knicks have missed the playoffs 7 years straight. They're fighting right now to not miss the playoffs for a decade. So if that means taking Russell Westbrook and beating out Orlando for the eighth seed with Russell Westbrook and what's their power forward's name? Help me now, Sam.
say it. Just reset it.
Who's their power forward on the Knicks?
Randall.
Exactly. Thank you. Him. Randall. Um and Russell Westbrook could get you an eighth seed and some, thrown in parts here and there. That could get you the eighth seed. The Knicks are so desperate not to miss the playoffs for a whole entire decade. They might do it.
Yeah, that would
But
be a disaster if they do that deal. I mean, that's insane.
more importantly, the Nets should not. What makes Nets fans go, Harden, KD, and just do they realize two balls can't go in the basket at once? The Nets are going to be the most incredible offensive team as is. The Nets' problem is they can't stop big men. Big men have every big man has a 30-10 game against the Nets. That's what they got to fix. Whatever it has to be that they have to do to fix it, that's what they've got to do. But and from what I'm hearing, that's not what they're really thinking about. They're thinking about the swingman position. But I realized something, Sam, about that whole situation, and I got more shit to say about James Harden, but I want to talk about this. So I want to let every Net fan know that the players read your shit on Twitter, and the more influential Net fans, they will give you guys tickets. You know, especially the real suck up Net fans that just want jerseys, signed, or can I take a picture with you, Mr. Timothy Luau Cabarro? Can I make a memory that'll last forever? You know, we got those Nets fans, right? Like there's those guys that love to do that. I sit around those guys. I'll never ask them to do nothing, never in my life, but just win games and represent our city well. That's all I care about. I don't want a picture with you. My kid wants a picture with you. I don't. But their hanger-ons will argue with loudmouths like me in the DMs and tell you things and tell you when you're wrong and be like, this is not true, and this is not wrong, and this is fucked up thing is happening, this person is doing this within the organization. I realize if I repeat that shit, I'm basically just becoming a mouthpiece for an agent or a weed carrier, the flunkies. I don't know who the hell is DMing me this information, but they're noticing that we have a nice little pod that does pretty well in comparison to all the other very exclusive and small Nets communities, but they like telling me shit so that I'll just go freak out on the timeline and start accusing Nets coaches right on Twitter of bias and everything else because I'm passionate, right? So I realized, wait a second, I'm not going to go and repeat this stuff because really I'm doing the job of an agent. And that's what a lot of these writers are doing too. They're repeating agent leaks because agents are trying to, not that we have influence on it, but once we start creating climate, if you don't think Joe Tsai reads a couple of these angry emails, yeah, they do. Why do you think Basquiat is the new jersey and there's a Nets jersey coming out? Because we whined and bitched and moaned about the shit that they gave us last year. They gave us exactly what we wanted this year. You know what I mean? They listen to our craziness on Twitter. So, but
for sure.
So I say all of that whole tirade, my young Sam. I say all of that to say we need to not help these dudes get what they want. I'm not saying anything. I'm not happy about what I'm hearing is the Nets are going to do. And yes, sometimes these guys have been right. I knew about the Basquiat jerseys. Remember, I think we talked about the Basquiat jerseys happening. I was shocked when I saw the tie-dyes because I said that's not what I was told was going to happen. But the Basquiat jerseys did come out, and those other jerseys are cool too. Like they did a great job. They basically gave us every Flatbush and Atlantic hoodie that we liked. By the way, shout out to those guys. I missed those guys. I haven't seen them on the timeline in a while.
Yeah, I'm waiting. I have a couple of their things, so I'm waiting for more of it.
I have at least 6 of them. So big fan of those guys. But nonetheless, back to this, Sam. It's a lot of bullshit out there. What do you think is real?
I actually think what you said is the most important thing I think that you've said so far is as you mentioned, the Nets have a very, very, very tight ship. Like the Nash thing came out of nowhere. There was nothing about the Durant Kyrie thing. No one really knew. No one in the Nets really had leaked about. Kyrie started leaking it because clearly that's just where he wanted to go. And so because of that, I think the fact that the Harden stuff has come out, I think you're 1,000% right, is basically from Harden's side and or a Harden agent and or maybe it's maybe there's some third party out there that we don't even know about that has a stake, but it's has nothing to do with Marks that that Harden's asked for a deal there. I'm more so until I see like any type of momentum gaining on a deal. I mean, like Woj tweeted they haven't even talked to each other yet. So like they haven't talked to each other yet. Then as you said, it's like, okay, great. Like Harden wants to play with two of his friends from the Olympic team. All right, like that makes sense to me. Like okay, but I mean, in terms of of what it actually means, I think it's basically nothing until it's something. But I do think it almost seems from the Nets' perspective that things have been too quiet, and I think that either means one of two things. I think Dinwiddie has had some interesting tweets where he's been talking about his Nets tenure in the past, which I don't know if that's intentional or not. And I think Dinwiddie also likes fucking around with Twitter because I think he's unbelievably self-aware.
He's not trolling.
Yeah, and right. So he either knows what he's doing. He knows what he's doing one way or another. He either knows he's on his way out and he's he's kind of the one on the outskirts, or because it seems like it seems like even through the bubble he was kind of working out on his own. I know from what I have gathered, it doesn't really seem like he's been in the big cruise at the Mamba Sports Academy, doing stuff with like Katie and Kyrie and LeVert and Taurean Prince and whoever else is there.
Well, let's talk about that really quick, right? So there's trolling, right? I want to be Iron Man. I want my contract to be paid in cryptocurrency.
Yeah.
You know, there's little jokey jokes, but he fired his agent.
Yep.
Who did he share agents with?
He was a Roc guy.
That's right. Who else is a Roc guy?
The whole Nets.
Exactly. If you're when he hired someone from Roc Nation, that's who you hire if you want to stay with the team. That's the agency that has the best relationship with the team. If all of a sudden, before you've been able to, even get Roc Nation to argue a contract for you, you fire them, and now you're representing yourself. Part of me wants to go, oh, he just wants to represent himself. He's just like that. No. It has everything to do with who is on the team, because it's a conflict of interest. If you can't be representing me and representing the guy that's trying to trade me on my own team. The Nets are a part of Dinwiddie's identity. He became a big player here, and now on the verge of winning of a championship, they're gonna jettison him. I'd be acting away too. Like, I mean, is there anything wrong with what I just said? Right?
No, I mean, I think there's an element of like, look, this is a business, but I also do understand like the loyalty of it. I mean,
firing
for me,
your agent is not trolling. Like I think that's telling us something. And in all the what we're thinking is trolling is happening at the same time as firing your agent. That's a serious life decision. And it has everything to do with who your agency also, works with, and where they and what's happening right now. All of it has something to do with each other, and it's kind of unfortunate, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean the Dinwiddie thing that I just don't know, and this is what I find to be a little weird, is that he definitely seemed to be enjoying himself more this year when Kyrie was out. And so you can look, you could say like, okay, well, he's getting more playing time, he's starting to get all-star attention, yada yada yada, like whatever you want to say. But then he tweets a lot about like wanting to win a championship in Brooklyn and all that stuff, and like those two things kind of don't go together, because he's not going to be starting for this team, not even because he's necessarily not good enough or one thing or another, but it's more so his role is kind of like as that sixth man, like Lou Will guy off the bench. But then, like, when you watch him play,